This is called shit line. Kind of my head. Summer in New York City is really hot. And as unpleasant as it is today, in the mid-60s and before, most apartments didn't have air conditioning. Even if our families could afford the inefficient units, the wiring in the pre-World War II buildings was not capable of supporting the electrical load. The only air conditioning I remember was in movie theaters, big stores, and the cloisters. Instead, we had to find other ways to cool off. On hot summer nights, we'd either sleep on the fire escapes or just hang out with friends on the stoop until we were exhausted and eventually fell asleep. We were too far from the beaches of Rockaway or City Island unless we were with an adult, and we didn't have the cash to go to the only pool in the neighborhood, the Miramar. The only option left was the river. Actually, we had two rivers and a connecting canal to choose from. Some choice. You couldn't pay me to swim in those waters, and I didn't. There were strong currents of the Hudson and the East Rivers, not to mention the area called Spite and Dival, which is where the Hudson met the waters of the East River. There was a relative calm area in between, which is a canal built around the turn of the century. Before the canal was built, at certain times of the day, you could walk across from the Bronx to Manhattan. And the Native Americans used to do just that, and ended up selling Manhattan to Peter Minuet one day when they were over there from the Bronx. The reason I didn't swim in the river had nothing to do with the currents, though. Currents that claimed inward use for as long as I can remember. The bodies were usually found 2 or 3 days later down by the George Washington Bridge. Nah, the reason I didn't swim in the river was because of the shit line. Up until about 20 years ago, there was no sewage treatment plants for the Hudson or the East Rivers. So at regular intervals during the day, all the sewage was dumped into the rivers. When the sewage was released, it would float in a long line in whatever direction the current was going. In this line was everything that people flushed down toilets. Mainly toilet paper, used condoms, and shit. Hence the name shit line. I was a pretty decent swimmer in a pool, but the thought of swimming in that water made me sick. Luckily, there was still a way for someone to hang out with the guys that swam and provide a service. You could be the lookout. The lookout kept an eye out for the shit line, and when you saw it, you stand up and yell, "Shit line! Shit line!" and everyone would get out of the water. Unless you were too close to the shit line, or the lookout didn't see it soon enough. When that happened, you only had one choice. Dive to the bottom of the river and stay there as long as you could. If you were lucky, you would find yourself in clean water when you swam to the top. If not, you broke the water into the middle of a shit line and became covered in all kinds of disgusting stuff. Slowly but surely, once they built the sewage treatment plants, the water got cleaner and cleaner. But before it was totally effective, they started swimming these races around the island of Manhattan. People from all over the world would come to this race. Before each race, they would send out these boats. Boats whose only job was to clear the river of all kinds of floating objects along the race route. The boat had a big open front that would scoop up objects in its path. I saw a documentary about the race, and they interviewed the captain of this boat. He was a salty old guy who had seen a lot. They asked him the strangest object he'd ever scooped from the water was, and he said it was a giraffe. It seems a barge carrying circus animals had lost one of its passengers. Just another day's work for a captain in the waters of New York City. During one of these races, a friend of mine was walking over the bridge toward his job in the Bronx. He saw the swimmers in the boats that accompanied him and realized they were swimming into a shit line. Not a 60s shit line, but a shit line nonetheless. Being a good citizen, my friend started yelling the dreaded word, "Shit line! Shit line!" But of course the racers, not being from Inwood, had no idea what he yelled and swam through the shit line in their quest for victory.